you guys will be excited to know Rachel Zegler, everyone's favorite actress in Hollywood, is interested in playing a role in Star Wars. She wants to do a voiceover role. It was a tweet that she put out. She said, "As a fan of comics, I would like to throw my hat into the ring to voice Shara Bay, the mother of Poe Dameron, because her ship was an RZ-1, which is my initials for Green Squadron." And I just thought, this is perfect. Bring her in to Star Wars, not as a voice actress, but as Rachel Zegler, basically.
As Rachel, because she wants to have a ship that matches her personal initials. Because it reminds me of me.
Well, I mean, Gary, I think you can probably agree. If there's one thing that Star Wars desperately needs, it's some strong female characters in it. Finally.
Well, I agree with Charmaine, whatever her name is. That we it's about time some women, shape Star Wars. They need to shape it.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple of treatments for her. So the first is her character wanders through the desert and falls asleep in a house, and then she befriends 7 Jawas. But then she wakes up the next day, and the Jawas have taken all her technical devices. And my other treatment was that she's on Endor, and she goes through the forests and falls asleep in a nice hut, and she wakes up and there's 7 Ewoks. And then the next day, she's made a ritual sacrifice and cooked over a fire. So those are my 2 treatment ideas.
I would say that's got potential, to be honest with you.
I'd buy that for $1.
Or how about she's put into some kind of survival game where she has to fight a number of other competitors until there's only one left.
That's interesting. Would she be hungry?
You would be quite hungry throughout the whole thing. Yeah, because I can speak from experience here. Killing people makes you really hungry. So.
You just eat them. I mean, works out.
Yeah, it's like, depends how creative you want to
human
get,
doesn't taste very nice. Long pig, okay?
She's pissed off too many people to try to throw her hat in the ring to play something like that.
She honestly seems like the kind of person that would be ideal for Star Wars at this point, though. I think
she wants for what they're doing.
She wants to rejuvenate the Force. Because the Force is dated and very evidently so. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
The Force is a bit weird. It's true.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's just...
Star Wars is a failure. Disney Star Wars is a failure that will be studied till the end of time because it is so catastrophic and consistent and incompetent. And, where everybody is just waiting for them to figure it out. Like even the people who backed them before have a very hard, they still try. The shills are out there and they still try, but they're having a hard time defending this. It's just getting sad. The last defense was you're afraid of a woman director. That's not what anybody had a problem with. Not a single person had a problem with that. The activism.
How long do you think it'll be before there's a generation that's like, what do you mean Star Wars was like famous and like a juggernaut? What do you mean?
Why did you like Star Wars?
and you have to like convince me like no, it was huge. And it's like, why? What do you mean? No, it wasn't. It's like, no.
It's funny that at the time it was known for its incredible kinetic pace and rapid cuts and movement, but now you probably have a generation. This is so slow. I just want to.
I know. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. When that came out, it was mind blowing how different it was from everything else. Like it felt like you're watching a movie from not just a science fiction movie, but if you're in the theater, I was a 7-year-old. It felt like I was watching a movie from 20 years in the future.
Mm. And the first 15 minutes are just 2 droids who we don't know wandering around on a planet we don't know on some vague mission. Amazing.
We just said Gary's like the Blade Runner sort of effect where you watch it and you're like, wait, sorry, when was this made? And you're like, I know.
Yep. I'm so naive and out of the loop. I didn't even know that this What If series originally on Marvel was actually a thing. I'd never actually heard about it until 24 hours ago.
There you go.
Is it any good, Gary?
No. It manages to like crap out a good episode or 2. I mean, when I say good, relatively with Disney Marvel, it's like something you won't hate or want to throw something at the screen. But then it ends in total MCU. It's all MCU garbage.
That season 2 listing was shocking in terms of what they went with.
So they're going to do They're speculating they might do a Star Wars equivalent What If.
Yeah, that's based on a comic book series called Infinities, where they redid, they did basically a What If alternate history of the original trilogy. I think they later did with the prequels too.
This is so dodgy because you know what the psychology of that is like to me? Like, if you're a kid and you watch the Star Wars films, and then you gather your huge sprawl of Star Wars toys, then with a kid's psychology, you just mash things together so that He-Man is fighting Darth Vader and C-3PO is riding a Tauntaun, because you're a child and your brain hasn't developed properly. So
and their writing is still better than the story group.
if you're developing a show based on that psychological premise idea, that's so debased. So
I mean, dumb. I think it all comes down to this fundamental problem of like multiverses and infinite realities and infinite possibilities, because if there's no definitive one that you can latch onto and say like this is like the actual story, once you start like telling people like there's infinite like different realities out there where, you know, like fucking Han Solo is now like Darth Vader and whatever other like ridiculous realities.
Han Solo's not a deadbeat dad. It's out there.
What if Darth Vader was a girl?
But the point is,
that'll be the first one.
the human brain just doesn't really cope with that sort of thing very well. So then you just kind of disengage from all the possibilities because you're suddenly confronted with this this universe of infinite nothingness, where nothing matters anymore because every character that died is alive in a different reality. Every enemy that was defeated won in a different reality. What's the point in anything then? Like, there's no reason to get invested in any of it because you can just bring people back with a little bit of dimension hopping. What's the
canon
point
is so passe.
I think my issue is even more fundamental than that. Any news that's like, this show is going to have these characters, this show's going to have these characters, this thing's going to be about this is going to be they're going here or they're going here, this era, this character. It's like, it's not addressing the fundamental problem of who the fuck is making this. Who cares? If they announce this show is going to be all about Jimbo Flizzflam from Coruscant, I'd be like, yeah, that's about the same excitement I can generate for a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi at this point.
Yep.
Like, what difference does it fucking make?
Yeah, I say it all the time. They come out with these announcements, and it's like, but it doesn't matter because look who's making it.
Yeah,
doesn't matter, and until they turn around and stop, it's never going to matter.
Because there would have been a time not all that long ago where they announced like new Star Wars projects with like this character, this legacy character, that legacy character, and we would have got like super excited, like, oh my god, X, Y, and Z are coming back. This is amazing. Now it's just greeted with absolute dread. It's like, oh, who are you going to fuck over this time, guys?
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be like that. That's how you destroy a franchise, by making people dread your own products.
Yeah.